Today, the Winder, Georgia community will gather to remember 14-year-old student Mason Schermerhorn and teacher Christina Irame in separate funeral services. They were among the 4 people killed in a shooting at Apalachee High School just 10 days ago. And now we're getting a clearer picture of the police response in the moments after the shooting. Yesterday, Barrow County officials released the police 911 calls and more than 500 radio messages between emergency personnel.
Who's the shooter? Active shooter.
We have an active shooter at Apalachee High School.
One suspect in custody.
What's the status of the shooter?
In custody, uninjured.
CNN's Rafael Romo is joining me right now. Rafael, good to see you. I mean, these are still very tender, tough moments. And, you know, in the trove of recordings, there was a tearful call from the suspect's aunt who said she was worried that it was her nephew.
That's right. And it's, let me just say, Fredricka, not only that, but it's a very difficult day there. Having been there in the community, it's just very difficult what the aunt is saying and also what we have learned from other family members. And these newly obtained emergency recordings and dispatch records from the Barrow County Sheriff's Office captured the chaos and panic that unfolded both inside and outside the Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. We now know the first call for the shooting came in at 10:22 a.m. Eastern Time, according to dispatch reports obtained from the Barrow County Sheriff's Office through a Freedom of Information request made by CNN. 2 minutes later, at 10:24 a.m., authorities had the suspect's name Colt, and one student was dead, according to the reports. At 10:30 a.m., the suspect was in custody, not injured. And then at 11:45 a.m., a woman who identified herself as Colt's aunt made a tearful 911 call saying she was afraid her nephew was involved in the shooting. This is part of what she told a dispatcher. Let's take a listen.
Hey, my mom just texted me and said that my nephew texted his mom and dad this morning and told them that he was really sorry, and he goes to the high school, Apalachee.
Okay.
As we previously reported, Colt Gray sent his mother an alarming cryptic text message before the shooting that only said, "I'm sorry, Mom." That text message prompted Marcy Gray to call the school asking administrators to check on her son. The aunt also shared that information with the dispatcher, as we will hear next.
Okay, and you said that you got a message from your nephew?
No, my mom just called me and said that Colt texted his mom, my sister, and his dad that he was sorry, and they called the school and told the counselor to go get him immediately. And then he said she saw that there had been a shooting, and I'm just worried it was him.
Really hard to hear that. The Barrow County Sheriff said that after Marcy Gray's warning call, authorities were actively looking for Colt Gray, but there was a mix-up and they weren't able to get to him fast enough. Colt Gray, who authorities say confessed to the Winder High School attack, is charged with 4 counts of felony murder and will be tried as an adult. His attorney, Alfonso Kraft Jr., declined to comment Wednesday when reached by phone, but piece by piece, the story is surfacing. It's very disturbing and very, very sad for the community.
I mean, the family seemed to know. But you know what I think is still curious? I mean, we know, and we've heard from the mom about the text, "I'm sorry, Mom." Do we know whether there was anything more preceding that? For them to know, for the mom to know, for this aunt to know that that meant these measures were taken by this young man. I feel like there must be something else preceding the "I'm sorry, Mom."
Yeah,
do we know anything more of that?
Yes, there's a span of 30 minutes before the shooting actually happened, where officials say the mother placed a call to the school asking administrators, spoke specifically with a counselor, saying, "Hey, there's something terribly wrong. I need you to find my son, make sure that he's doing okay." And that's when the mix-up happened and they weren't able to reach the student in time. By then he was already in the restroom, allegedly putting together the gun that he had carried in his backpack and then we know the rest of the story and how tragically it ended.
And we had heard from a classmate who said that a young man whose name is very similar,
Right.
but the first name was Colton,
Yes.
that apparently it was Colton who was called, they asked, and turns out that was the wrong kid, but simultaneously, as you just mentioned, Colt was in the bathroom or preparing for this horrible situation. All right, thank you so much, Rafael Romo. Bring us more as you get it.
Of course.